Hello, and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Now, today we will be discussing the Braxton sisters, toxic behavior, their beef with Kevin Surratt, and also the strained relationship between Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr. So let's get into it. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here, sis. Now, everything we will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, and is used for entertainment purposes only. Now, let's be clear. I will be speaking on Tracy's last will and testament. Um, and honestly, I usually don't speak on these type of sensitive subjects, but since the family brought it to the show, I want to discuss it because it might help somebody else who might be in the same situation. So we are going to discuss, some of the things that Tracy did speak of in her will. Now, I won't be showing any documents. That's a little too much. I'm not going to be doing that. But when the family decided to talk about it on the TV show, that brought the viewers into the conversation. Okay. And it is public knowledge, and anyone can go and pull it up. And I love Tracy Braxton, which is why I want to speak on the matter, because I don't think that her sisters are doing her any good with the decisions that they're currently making. Okay. So, according to Tracy's last will and testament, that was shared by Really BTV. And shout out to her. And if you want to go and take a deeper dive into Tracy's last will and testament, you're definitely welcome to go do that. Again, the YouTube channel is Really BTV, because she does go into details, and she does tell you how anyone can actually go and pull up this information because it is public information. Okay. So, according to the Tracy's last will and testament, that was shared by Really BTV, it does confirm that Kevin Jr. was named the director executor of his mom's will. But there was one stipulation, and that was that Kevin Jr. has to be in a position to handle these responsibilities. Okay. And at this point, with everything that little Kevin, has going on in his life, I am not sure that he is, in a has the mental capability to do so. Now, keep in mind that Tracy did pass, away on March 12th of 2022. So, maybe, things have already been taken care of, or whatever the case may be, and he's just going through some other things, and all of this stuff has already been taken care of. um but I think, and I'm just gonna this is just my opinion, um from what I'm seeing and what I'm going to further talk about in her last will and testament, I do believe that maybe Tracy assumed that these responsibilities would be handled by Kevin Jr. as well as Kevin Sr. Like, I don't think that she expected him to take care of all these details by himself. I think that it was something that she probably thought that they could do, together. And the only reason why she put this responsibility on Kevin Jr. is because in previous episodes of the Braxton Family Values, Tracy did say that Kevin Sr. was bad with money. So maybe she thought that, if she involved Kevin Jr., they would have a better outcome. And she also made her attorney, responsible to make sure everything went over well as well. So with that being said, she left all of the funds that were in her bank account to Kevin Sr. So she did not completely leave Kevin Sr. out of her will, which is what the Braxton family, mainly the sisters, would like everybody to believe is that Tracy completely left her husband out of the will, and that's just not true. Okay, she left him all of the monies that were in her bank account. So she did leave that to him, and she also wanted her attorney, Clifton Jones, to be in charge of her brand, image, name, rights, and likeness, and relieved of his duties upon the determination that Kevin Jr. is ready to assume the responsibility for the brand, image, name, rights, and likeness. So she didn't just, say, this is what my son has to do. She actually made her manager responsible for that. And when Kevin Jr. was in a position where he was responsible enough to take over those duties, then the manager could relinquish those responsibilities over to Kevin Jr. And the final decision would be made by her counsel, Antavius Wings. So he was going to determine when Kevin Jr. was responsible enough to take over those responsibilities. Now, Tracy also stated in her will that if the representative, which is Kevin Jr., precedes or predeceased her for any reason or failed to qualify, or cease to act as her executor, she appointed her brother, Michael C. Braxton Jr., to serve as the successor personal representative of her estate and will. Now, for me, that made two things very clear. And Mama B says, I don't think it is good for any of their mental health to drag their family business all over TV. And I totally agree. That's when I kind of side-eye the family, because you created this whole beef over the last 2 years against Kevin Surratt Sr. because he had a memorial service, but then you go and you put everything on national TV. So, the contradiction there, it's a lie. Like, I don't really get that. So, this is why I feel the way I feel, which is two things were made very clear. She didn't want her husband in charge, and she didn't want her sisters in charge. So, that's my point. She didn't want her sisters in charge. So, I feel like that in and for whatever reason, they are both trying to take charge, her husband and the sisters, and they are putting Kevin Jr. in the middle of all of this drama, which is a lot for someone of his age, already going through grief and other, personal issues in his life. It's really a lot. And I feel like Kevin Jr., the manager, and the attorney probably had to sign off for the family to use her likeness on the show. So the manager, um, Kevin Jr., and the attorney probably gave them the green light to move forward with this show, which is why, they're so concerned about Kevin Jr. because they need him to be on their side, because ultimately he has to sign off on that. So, and it's probably at a time when he might need the money. So they're going to make sure that he's also a part of this show because, they needed his okay to move forward with her likeness. And I'm pretty sure that the manager may be getting a little cut of the money as well. And it's really sad because Kevin Sr. is clearly still grieving and very hurt by the way they're depicting him on this TV show. Like, they are really not showing him in a good light, and he needs to be able to have a voice as well. So I don't think it's fair the way that they're doing Kevin Sr. And it's very sad because I'm sure this is not what Tracy wanted. She didn't want, them to be fighting over her likeness. I'm pretty sure that was not her intentions, which is why she left it to her son and her manager to keep the sisters, who I'm pretty sure she already knew, did not like her husband. for whatever reason. And she knew that it would become a disaster. That's why she left them out of her will and didn't put them in charge of anything. And before we in this video, I'm actually going to show you a video of Kevin Surratt Sr. because he really looks depleted and sad. And um I understand that, you know, this is they played on the episode 4 that this is what Tracy wanted, but at the same time, she did leave her husband her money. So obviously she didn't want her husband to be mistreated in this whole ordeal. So let me just go ahead and see if I can play this video really quickly because um Kevin doesn't seem to be doing so well. Give me 1 second, guys.
Give me the balance to understand this direction that we're in right now. So I look forward to you tuning in tonight, 8 o'clock. Just a little session with Surratt, you know what I mean? Episode number 2. We're going to make things, balance out a little bit more. I don't have no hard feelings for the way God is orchestrating things right now. Me and my little man. Well, I ain't gonna say my little man no more because he's my junior, but at the same token, the little man is K3. How me and him trying to make things, getting his properties and just make sure we're good for, my wife's legacy and how she wanted things to look for, junior and baby care. So just tune in and I might take some questions, see what things are. Then I also got a surprise guest. So what's up, good people? Just wanted to get y'all to tune in this evening, about 8 o'clock, my social media outlets.
Now I stopped the video and I'm going to play one more. Now he announced on his social media a couple of days ago that he would be going live and he had a special guest. But then 1 second, I'm going to pull up the next message. Oops, give me 1 second. Let me pull up this next one.
Is basically I'm not gonna go live today. I'm gonna do a special.
So basically, he came back and said he wasn't going to go live.
To give y'all an opportunity to chime in on how y'all feel about that. I think this is gonna be much better for the process. And all I want to say is I am good. Me and my son are good. And we're going to get things to where they're supposed to be for the sake of Tracy. Believe that. And once I finish this interview and talk about some of the things, I'm good, Tiffany. Hey, that's what we're going to do. I just want everybody to know that this is a process. This is a process. And my wife truly, had understanding of me and her when I say we went through valleys and peaks and journeys and things of that nature by ourselves, raising our son. You know what I mean? I remember the first year of our son's life. She did go to Europe. She did go on a tour. And me and him was home, and I'm raising him at the age of 1. Our first 1-year anniversary, guess what? She was in Europe. When Queen Elizabeth passed on August 31st, 1997,
You meant to say Princess Diana.
my wife and her family was on their way to see her. So don't get it twisted. I know the journey.
So he's letting you know, even though Tracy had a son, she was able to go out on tour and he stayed home with the baby.
I know the journey. So look, I get back with y'all. I just want to give out an update. I will not be going live. All right.
So the reason for me sharing his live is because I just wanted you guys to see how depleted this man is. Like, this is really a lot. And for the Braxtons to choose to show all of their family drama on this TV show, it's starting to look like a money grab. And I like the show. I'm going to continue, to review the show, but I just hope it gets better and they're able to resolve. And I also wanted to say that Tawanda Braxton is the least financially stable of them all. And I'm sure that's why she's going so hard, because she needs to check, the most from the show. And, from the last episode, it's going to be very interesting. And it comes on tomorrow, guys. So if you haven't watched this season yet, you need to go and watch it. You need to get caught up, because hopefully it'll get better, but right now it is a little, what word should I use? It's a little deep. But with that being said, what is happening right now on this show is exactly what happens all the time in families when somebody passes away. So most people just don't choose to air their dirty laundry out on a TV show, but families go through this every day. And hopefully somebody will learn something from them, showing all of their drama on this TV show, and maybe they'll make better decisions, but I really felt like Tracy kind of knew what would happen after her demise. So I think she put everything in place the way that she did because she knew that there would be conflict between her sisters and her husband. But I'm not saying that she should have done anything any differently, because probably no matter what she did and no matter who she put in place, it was going to be chaos, because I'm starting to just feel like that this is just a toxic family. If you look at their track records with the men that they choose to date, the drama that Tamar is constantly in, you know, she's always picking the wrong man. She's just been going through a lot. And the way that she's so quick to run to social media with her drama and put us in the chat, like, they're just starting to look like a toxic family. And Mama B says, yes, I hope they move on. I feel sorry for Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr. Me too, Mama B's, because ultimately they're suffering the most, because this man was with this woman for 29 years. And that was Kevin Jr.'s mom, his best friend. He thought that she would be around, to be there for his child, which would have been her grandchild. So this is a lot for them. Like, these people, the sisters, they have their own lives, their own husbands, or, significant others, their own kids, but they had a very small family. And even though Kevin talks a lot about the strong support system that him and Tracy had, and which I'm sure that's what it is, I kind of feel like a lot of this drama started with Miss E. Miss Evelyn, even though she plays up for the cameras and everything, because I think she loves to be on TV, she does kind of have a nasty disposition. And I'm sure that's where these girls got it from, And then a lot of people feel like she kind of blamed or had some type of animosity towards Tracy because Tracy chose to stay back with her father in Baltimore. And Tracy's very close with her brother, Michael Jr., as well as her father. And I think she kind of felt some kind of way about that. I mean, I can't be sure about that, but that's kind of what she's given, because they did, when Tracy was here, like, her and her sisters did have a lot of back and forth. So it's looking like now that she's no longer here, they're just like, oh, I love my sister so much. Oh, and I'm not trying to take anything away from these grieving family members, but it's just looking like, the same thing that you're accusing Kevin Surratt for, you're doing the same thing, which is exploiting her death and her likeness and her image. So I really don't see the difference. So you were so adamant about she didn't want to have a funeral, but you want to put her on a TV show. Now, they really didn't show a lot of scenes where she was like really looking bad. and really going through it. Most of the scenes that they did decide to show, it was showing Tracy in a happy place, even though she was in the hospital and she was going through her cancer journey. So I do feel like they try to show her in a respectful light, but at the same time, I feel like they put pressure on the son and the manager and the attorney to move forward with this TV show so that they all could get a bag, because we all know that all of the Braxtons have had money issues at some point in time in their life. They Most of them have had to file bankruptcy or whatever the case may be. So they have had a lot of financial issues. So I really feel like they needed this bag. Probably not Tony so much, but guess what? Tony is the one who actually wants to sit down and have a conversation with Kevin Sr. And that's probably because she doesn't really need the money as much as the other sisters. True enough, Tony has had to file, bankruptcy at some point, but I believe once she filed bankruptcy, from that point on, she's been able to maintain her finances, and she's in a better position than these other sisters. And we all know that Tawanda also had to file bankruptcy at some point. And I'm really not sure what her or her significant other, who has not married her in all these years, do for a living. So it's obvious that they need the money. And she's the one that is so upset with Kevin Sr., and just like Tony said, that's her husband. You don't know what married couples talk about in the privacy of their home. So you can't just come out and say that, you know, he's not living up to what she wanted, because they could have had some conversations that the sisters weren't privy to. So I just feel like it's just like a tug of war game between the sisters and Kevin Surratt. And I guess we'll just have to watch the show to see how all of this plays out. But from the looks of things, it's getting really ugly. And even the producers felt bad and they wanted the dad, because I'm pretty sure they know he's a person of reason. He did show up at the memorial service that Kevin Sr. had. They wanted the dad, Kevin Sr., and Kevin Jr. to sit down and have a conversation. But Tawanda and Trina are totally against it, especially Tawanda. And again, you know, she needs the bag. So I can see where she's really trying to keep Kevin Sr. out the way, because she don't want, the truth to come out. And they're making insinuations that Kevin Sr. has something to hide. And I'm not saying whether or not he has something to hide, or whether he was a good husband to Tracy or whatever. Everybody has problems in their relationship. But at the end of the day, she was still married to this man when she left this earth. So she obviously forgave him. And there's been some talk that, there was infidelities on both parts, and they decided to stay together and work on their marriage. So whatever, happened in the marriage, obviously they moved on past it, and the sisters need to stop bringing it up and just move on and try to have a better relationship, because a good sister would say, you know what, no matter what, he was with my sister for 29 years, and I'm sure that she would just want us all to get along. Can we just all get along, which is the title of this video. I just wish that everybody can come together and get along, because I know that's what would have made Tracy happy. And Mama B says, I am having a hard time watching this show. And why is that, Mama B's? Because maybe that'll tell me why a lot of people, because this show is actually, there's a lot of people covering this show. Maybe not in the sector that I'm tied to, but there's a lot of people covering this show, and there's a lot of people watching. So is it the sadness of the show? The reason why I like this show versus some of the other shows I cover, like Love and Marriage Huntsville, is because these people are telling their truth. It's not like a made up storyline. These people are actually going through this as we speak. So it's not a made up storyline. This is these people's real lives. So it's more believable and it's more relatable. And everybody has went through this type of situation in their life. Everybody has, I mean, somebody has passed away in their family where there was actually physical fights at funerals. I mean, things get crazy when people pass away. So what we're seeing, like this is true, their story. And it's a lot of people's story. So it's not really hard for me to watch because I feel like people are going to learn from this show. So even though I think the Braxton sisters and the mom, they are a little bit on the toxic side. I mean, we know that from just watching Tamar over these last couple of days with all of the drama, you know. So Mama B said it's hard to watch families tear each other down. Exactly. And I can certainly understand that. Um, that is hard to watch. But again, Mama B's, this happens in everyday life. So it is their true story. And one thing about reality TV, if nothing else, it's called reality TV because we want to see people's real reality, not a fake storyline. And it's a sad reality for the Braxton family, but it really is their reality right now. And honestly, I can kind of still relate to both sides because even though I don't totally agree with the Braxton sisters, and I keep saying sisters because they're not really bringing Mama E into this a lot. It seems like most of the conversation is with the sisters. And Tony is really, and I don't know how Tamar really feels because they're kind of keeping Tamar out of it. And it could be because Tamar and Tawanda don't talk and they don't get along. So Tamar is probably left in the dark. And she said that on, I believe, the very first episode. So she's not really getting the information like the other sisters because they don't talk to her that much because she's hard to deal with. And I can see that just from watching her on social media. Okay. So, really, to me, it seems like the only people that's involved is Tawanda and Trina because Tony is open to having a sit down conversation with Kevin Sr., and she's the reasonable one in this situation. So it seems like it's mainly Tawanda and Trina that has the issues. And let me see. And Mama Beast also said, I lost my husband of 30 years. He had 7 brothers. I wish one of them would have tried to interject anything in my business. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Mama Bees. But I absolutely agree. And that's why I feel so bad for Kevin Sr. Like, you guys don't have the right to just completely shut this man out when this was his wife of 29 years. So, and I feel very strongly about that. Even though she didn't include him in the will, when you're making these decisions, you have to try to make a responsible decision. That doesn't mean that she didn't love her husband. She just thought he was bad with money. And, you know, just because you're my husband doesn't mean that I trust you with my money. There's in every relationship, there's usually somebody who's better with money. So that is the person who normally is in charge. So I can definitely see why she would choose, to put her son. And she didn't just put her son, she had other people that would be involved in the decision making process. So I can certainly see that. As a mother, I had to choose, which one of my sons that would be in the best position to be able to handle the situation. One second. So that's a hard decision that you have to make, but the decision has to be made. And at the end of the day, if there's been rumors of cheating, again, you might not want some other woman to be able to spend all of your money in your legacy. Hey, it's Tay. Thank you so much for being here, sis. So it was just a decision that she had to make. And I feel like she really kind of you know, tried to do the right thing, by setting up her trust. Like she did what we're supposed to do. But unfortunately, when your family is just toxic, like sometimes there's really nothing that you can like do to avoid having drama in your family. There's still going to be drama regardless, you know. And, luckily for you, Mama Bees, your family obviously had respect and you didn't have to worry about that situation. And, your husband came from a big family, and it seems like the bigger the family, the harder it is to make those decisions because, it's hard to get everybody on the same page. But that's why you have to designate one person to be able to handle the situation. So that's what Tracy did. She made the best decision that she thought was the best decision at that point in time. And unfortunately, I mean, she knew that there would be some drama, which is why she, made her son the executor, because she probably thought that her family wouldn't argue with the son just because, he's just so timid and they wouldn't want to go against her son, but honestly, it still backfired and there was just no way around it. And KT said, a person that's fair anyways. Yes. And sometimes you could try to be fair, but there's some people that are just not going to see things your way. And some people just like keeping up mess. The Braxton sisters are just really starting to look toxic. And even so, if you look at this whole situation, you got the Braxton sisters going against Kevin Sr., you got Kevin Jr. and Kevin Sr. They're not in a good place because I'm sure the dad feels like Kevin Jr. is siding with the sisters. And then you got Tawanda and Trina that don't get along. So this family is just like nobody gets along. Hey, Braden Lee, thank you so much for being here, bro. So it's just looking like, can we just all get along? Like nobody in this, dynamic gets along. And it's just like you said, Mama B, sometimes it's hard to watch because it's just like all it takes is just a conversation. Like everybody can't be right all the time. Just listen to both sides and maybe you guys can reason with each other and come to some type of mutual agreement. Maybe if they included Kevin Surratt on the show, he would be okay with them having the show, but to completely try to shut him out and then include his wife's likeness in the show, I think that's very mean spirited to say the least. You know, that's very mean spirited. And I can't see how they think that Tracy would approve of this. Like, who would approve of the treatment that they're giving to her husband of 29 years, the father of her one and only child, and the grandfather of her grandchild? Like, they're really not looking at the whole picture. So, and hopefully it gets better before it gets worse. And it's Tate said, my mother-in-law passed and my sister-in-law took all. She didn't split it like she was told to do. And unfortunately, it's Tate. This happens all the time, which is why I think a lot of people can learn something from this show and, hopefully put their, affairs in order, and, in your situation, it looks like, they were told what to do, but some people still choose to do the wrong thing. So sometimes it's just there's no way around, just having drama because some people just decide that they're going to just take over and do what they want to do, you know. So I can't say how you could do anything any differently when you just have people that are just vindictive and just want to just do whatever they want to just take precedence over other people, So sometimes there's just no way around the drama. So it's Tay. Are you watching the show? I think Braylon is reviewing the show, so I'm pretty sure he's watching the show. Um it's Tay. Are you watching the show? Because I think this upcoming episode, Tawanda is going to be trying to insinuate that Kevin Surratt Sr. doesn't want the truth to come out. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So this show, I want to say it's on Philo. So it's the same channel that you would have or the same streaming platform that most of us have watched Love and Marriage Huntsville on. Well, for me anyways, I have Philo. So it's the same streaming platform that I was watching Love and Marriage Huntsville on before I decided not to watch anymore and just do a watch party with De Silva. And it's Tate said, I have to get caught up on it. Yes, because this show is really going to be very interesting. Because I want to see what they have on each other. I mean, it's a shame that they have to put their family drama out there, but if they're going to put it out there, I'm going to watch and I'm going to talk about it because it is their reality and this is a reality TV show. So I would prefer to watch people's real reality instead of fake storylines, to be honest. You know, if I want a fake storyline, I'll just watch Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I'm really interested in this show because this is their real life. And Braylon is speaking to everybody. And it's Tate says, I know that's right. Absolutely. And guys, I'm not going to get into that Tamar and JR situation. Everybody's already seen it. But I will say this. I'm happy that, Tamar did go on her YouTube channel and she did apologize. And she actually seemed like she did regret going live, to expose JR. And she did apologize to the people. And she said, I'm sorry that I keep doing the same thing. I'm human, but I do apologize. And she said, you guys were right and everything. And she said she's going to be going away for a while. And guys, what do you think Tamar is getting ready to do? She says she won't be around. Do you think that she's going to maybe be in the TV show Traders or maybe The Masked Singer? What do you think Tamar is up to that she's going to be away? Because if she was just doing the family TV show, I mean, we already know that, so she wouldn't have had to hide that. So I think it's something different. So what do you guys think that Tamar is up to where she's going to be away? Because it has to be something where she has to go and live somewhere else, for a period of time. So I guess in the, upcoming weeks or months, we'll find out what Tamar is up to. But I am proud of Tamar because I do feel like she is working on her mental journey. I do feel like she's getting better. But when you're with a toxic person, it makes it even harder. And for JR to say, go take your meds, like that was like one of the worst things you could say to somebody who's dealing with mental health issues. And I thought that was very disrespectful. And that is totally unforgivable. So if she forgives JR for that, I just don't know what to say anymore. Hey, Carmen Wallace, thank you so much for being here, sis. That is unforgivable and so disrespectful, So I truly hope that she is done with Colonel Sanders because he's giving clout chaser, disrespectful. I mean, and it just seems like she loves him more than he loves her. He's just not that into her. And that's just a fact. And it's Tate says, I hope so because I stopped watching the show because of Tamar. Exactly. Which show did you stop watching because of Tamar? It's Tate. The Braxton Family Values, or which show was that? And Mama B said he is disgusting. He absolutely is, Mama B's. Like, I mean, I think from the time he started dating Tamar, it was just all about the fact that he's a clout chaser. I don't think he ever truly cared about Tamar, and he's been taking her on this ride. And the fact that she married him after everything he did, ugh, that just really shows how insecure she is, and she just wants love. she just wants to be with somebody, a man. So hopefully Tamar will just take some time to herself and love on herself and just, really start just really feeling what it is to love yourself and just practicing self-love. And it's T said, I hated the way she would treat her sisters. Okay, yes, Tamar, because Tamar is the baby of the family, and I believe that she was spoiled by her mom, and it's just like she never grew up, so she still acts like a spoiled brat, and she wants all of the attention. She wants the attention to be on her at all times. And KT also said, I also hated the way she did Vince too. Yeah, yeah, that was just another toxic relationship. Um, I think they started off good, but I think at some point they both became toxic. Vince was kind of toxic too. And on top of that, he was abusive. And sometimes, people don't start off being that way, but when you're with a toxic person, like just to be able to deal with them on a daily basis, you find yourself becoming toxic and vindictive. So I can clearly see where she probably did rub off on Vince, and he was just pretty much matching her energy. And KT also said, I'm the baby and I would have never. Okay. It's KT, I'm the knee baby, and I have a baby sister, and she's a lot like Tamar, if I would have to say so myself. I'm just saying. And Carmen Wallace said, did he acknowledge that they were married? He said that he's been single for 6 months. I think he wants to keep it a secret, but Tamar wants to put it out there. And I absolutely believe that when he got caught cheating, when he was, on their groceries or whatever the case may be, I think that for Tamar to forgive him, he proposed to her and they got married. So I'm almost 99.99 for sure that JR and Tamar got married after that situation. But he never came out and said the word married. But the way she's calling his kids her kids, which I think is totally unacceptable because you're not their mother, you're the stepmom, but you're nothing at this point because you guys got a divorce. Like, I don't think that Tamar would come out and tell all those lies. Just, I believe they were married. And it's T says, I think when she got tired of him, she started making up stuff. Um, I don't think she's making that up. Like, who would just say that they're married? Like, it could easily be debunked. But who knows? The fact that he says he's been single for 6 months, to me, that means that he was married at one point and now he's single. That's just how I took that. So, if anybody knows anything different, and see, I know what you're probably thinking, Carmen, because he's an attorney. Maybe he could have faked it. And you're absolutely right, because nobody has produced a marriage license, and he could have made that go away as well. Like, he could have faked all of this. But in her mind, she got married. So if he did fake all of this, Tamar doesn't know anything about it because, from her standpoint, Tamar was married to JR, you know. But being that he's an attorney, and sometimes it's kind of like you got to be careful when you start dating attorneys because there's things that they know that you don't know, and they can very easily take advantage of you. And it's Tay T said, no, I'm talking about her and Vince. Oh, absolutely. Her and Vince were definitely married for sure. They were married and they had their son, who Vince is very involved in his life. And Tamar and Vince, they're still working together. So they have a pretty amicable relationship. Yes. And I really did like her and Vince at first. And I kind of believe that Vince got in all of that debt because he was just trying to appease Tamar, buying her all of those expensive gifts. And he was just living a lifestyle outside of his means. And it just started going downhill from there. But if he would have, continued to live within his means, I think that him and Tamar would have still been together. And then I think Tamar also got tired of the fact that he was supposed to be helping her with her music career, and that just never happened. Maybe he low key was a little bit jealous of her having a music career. I'm not sure, but he definitely didn't seem to be interested in really, helping Tamar to get where she needed to be with her music career. So that also played a part in the demise of their marriage. And then, of course, the abuse and everything like that. But, they had a good run for a while, you know. So, and they were able to finally get to a place where they're amicable and they're okay with each other. So that's obviously a good thing. And it's T says Tamar was difficult though. Tamar is always going to be difficult. I just don't think that's going to change. I mean, I know she is working on her mental journey, but she definitely gives me a little bit of bipolar, and things like that. Um, so hopefully, things will, after if she continues, because she said it. She says some people just have to always see a therapist. So I think she's prepared to always, have a therapist in her life. I think she knows that's something that she's going to probably have to do for the rest of her life. Maybe she's gotten a diagnosis, so maybe that's why she says that. I'm not sure, but I think she's kind of accepted the fact that she needs a therapist at all times. And hopefully, she's always able to have one because it definitely looks like she's going to need one. So guys, that's going to be the end of this video. And I wish more of you guys would actually watch the show. I really appreciate the support, but I definitely need you guys to be able to chit chat with me and kind of give me more feedback on your thoughts about everything that's going on. And I'm sure that you've probably seen clips on social media, but if you're going to watch, now would be the good time because now you're not going to see so much of sad pictures of Tracy. Rest in peace to her. She was definitely my fave. You're just going to see more of their reality that they have going on now, because keep in mind Tracy did pass away 2 years ago, so now you're going to see what's going on in their lives 2 years past Tracy's death. And it's T said, love the commentary. Thank you so much, sis. And thank you so much for the support, guys. And if you haven't done so already, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. And if you're watching the replay, make sure that you leave some comments in the comment section and let me know what you think about this week's episode. And tomorrow, the new episode 5 will be coming on. So I will be coming on in a few days after that to give you guys a recap of that. And again, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.